So today we have yet another perimeter here. You can see it is all cleared out, but if you don't have a keen eye, you probably don't know what exactly we are doing in this area, 'cause it doesn't look like it's too great of an area to make a perimeter. And the reason for that being is there's a lot of hills, there's even a bit of ocean here. So why exactly would we be making a perimeter here? But if you know, if you were in the streams, of course you would have seen it, but hard to tell, but this actually is an ocean. That little bit there is the big bit that proves it. That's a little bit over there too. But yeah, there is actually an ocean that I found that is completely almost surrounded by land. If we were to make like a 500 block perimeter here, there would have been no water for us to drain or whatnot, but it's just not needed. If you saw there, that is what we are going to be farming here. And dolphins are a unique passive, like they're like fish. They don't need a full render distance because they spawn and despawn differently than a full regular civ bot. So if I go and stand in the middle, there will be none, if provided that that guy wasn't over there positioned to start placing the wall and everything. So yeah, there's some over here and whatnot that the bot is spawning. So if I were standing here, there would be no water, fish, or anything anywhere. So yeah, that way we can make a dolphin farm. And it'll also be a looting dolphin farm at that. So yeah, spent a bit of time last night. I got the full floor built up. Now we're going to use the gradient placer for the wall from Illyrio. But yeah, so I spent a couple streams here. I think I've spent one stream actually getting all of the trenches completed, as well as building up the World Eater. So actually only one stream, and then everything's all built up here. But yeah, now we need to get the walls in, and then we can get the farm in, and that's project pretty close to being done already. You know, so having storage and whatnot for the farm, because nothing is included for that. And we also got to get a couple of guardians. So what I actually did when I got this area and we were waiting for the World Eater to go down, what I did is I explored to the south because we had a lot of ocean this way. Could have also probably gone west, but I mainly went south because they're closer to Strider and a couple other perimeters that we were doing. And you can see here there's a lot of ocean monuments that I went to. What I did first is I went straight east. Obviously that wasn't the best decision because they were all over here. These are like 1,000, 2,000 blocks away. So that wouldn't have been fun to transport them over. Then I started going down south, and I basically just followed the ocean closer and closer and closer until we got to the one that's roughly 500, roughly 1,000 blocks away. This one's probably about 2,000 blocks away, so it shouldn't be too bad to actually bring these guys over. We could also do it through the nether, but because there's so many of them, I don't think that's going to be the best alternative. I'll have to figure out a way we're going to get the guardians over here for the farm itself, because you can't just have dolphins spawn in water. You will get the squids and obviously the fish, but the fish don't really make a difference. They won't interfere with anything. They have their own separate mob cap. However, the squid and the dolphins do share the same one, so we have to take that into consideration with the farm design. And once we build the farm, of course, I'll mention the creator and everything will be linked down in the description down below. But it's time to build the walls fully automatically. I think it takes about like 14 hours, something like that, for this 272 scale, 140 blocks tall. The 140 blocks will basically perfectly cover all the mountain that this side has. But I usually do 140 blocks as standard, just because it's not too tall, but it's also not you know, too short, like that. So it's only concrete powder, very easy to get. Of course, you all know that. But yeah, we get out of the way. We'll go do that, and meanwhile, I might start to make the farm in the center. Gotta obviously fit around with it, get some storages and things like that. But we're on to the unique farms of this world here because all the other main ones we have already done. So we are going to look to some of the ones that I just love how those dolphins turned out. I mean, it looks amazing. They have the water splash and everything like that. So definitely love that thing looks, especially from the map. It looks absolutely amazing. I'm gonna get these walls going. We'll be back once we have those done, and maybe even the farm. Alright, so the full farm is built up. Now all we gotta do is get some guardians in here. I think it's 4 for each corner, so we need 16 in total. As you can see, we're also in a war motion, so we're going to be getting puffer fish and whatnot. So we have to slightly modify the top section here and use slabs, and then I can stand up here. I can't stand in there, otherwise the puffer fish are going to, well, poison you, and they also do regular damage if you're too close to them. So then you will actually die if you were to do that. So slight oversight. I kind of forgot that they spawn in the war motion one, but we have the perimeter. It's not like we're going to use it all too much. So, you know, it's going to work still because, like I said, the fish still have a separate mod cap, so it's not going to interfere with anything. And we have our squids that can only spawn in the center here. Actually, this guy doesn't do anything because he's more than 128 blocks away from the ocean on the side here. Yeah, the wall's getting built up, as you can see. We're nearing a... we're a quarter of the way, obviously, with one wall done. But yeah, this thing's going pretty well. I got materials to go and grab these guardians besides the minecarts, but that's easy enough to get. So yeah, I'm going to drop them in one by one in this corner here, I'm pretty sure. Just supposedly just combine with themselves. I think the fish may cause a slight issue. They shouldn't interfere with the minecarts too much. The minecarts should always be moving. I don't think they really necessarily have to move. We could probably put them right in this corner here, but we'll see how it goes once we get the guardians in. And the guardian's responsibility is obviously to kill the squids off because they ignore bubble columns and everything. And then we have the item down here to attract the dolphins. It seems to be mistimed. I was trying to mess around with this clock. Seems to be mistimed. I think I'm unlocking the hopper too late. I tried to modify this here to make the redstone a little bit better, but apparently I am a bit too slow with that, so I'll have to look how to change that, because we have limited area. We can't go right above the beacon, but I should be able to get the signal from a different spot, and that should be okay instead. So I'll mess with that before going over to get the Guardians, which is pretty much just straight south. So this way over here, over the mountains, we will have our temple all the way down there. I'm not going to fly there yet. A bit further than I remember it being, so... yeah, let me finish this real quick, and then we'll go get our Guardians. That way we can get rid of all of these squids that are spawning everywhere inside of the farm. Alright, just got back from transporting the items from the printer back to main storage. Arriving at the location here with everything all set up and dusted. We got obviously the cannon to go back and forth pretty quickly. It's not too far away. I have the mob switch off, so we're going to get quite a number of mobs spawning on the floor here, which is fine for right now. Yeah, all the wall decoration is in. Farm is fully built up in the center here. You can see I have some sort of resemblance of what I'm going to bring over for the Guardians. I'm going to try to hold them in this area for right now, just to get all 16. And then I'll move them into position one by one, because it will be the easiest of things, because they're going to fight back, obviously. But yeah, you can see we're getting these squids, and we're getting a lot of fish, because yeah, it's the only place they can really spawn. So we get a couple of those up there. Isn't too bad, but yeah, all squids are spawning here, which is good. We even have a couple dolphins stuck up there. We got some of the buffer fish, which are the annoying bit. But yeah, mob switches off. Let's go over there and try to grab some Guardians. I have this railway all the way down to the portal here, all powered up and ready to go. I'm hoping what I have here for this monument is going to work how I envision it, but I'm not 100% sure. Because I don't think there's bubble columns in this scaffolding, but with it, they should just jump out, is my theory here. So let's see if it actually works, and then this will be a really easy way to get them to spawn where I want them to. We got a bunch there. We got 2 bobcats to work with, so this should be pretty quick if we get them to spawn in the right locations here. Got a couple, so it is working. And I gotta like float down slowly, that way they start to spawn in the top section there of the monument. It's actually working a lot better than I actually thought this was gonna go. I think I have like 20 some minecarts in there, maybe. I'm not entirely sure the amount. Slowly glide down. We should start to see a lot of those minecarts get filled up there with our guardians. So yeah, this seems to be working quite well so far. I think we got all the minecarts filled, so that's pretty good. So the best thing about this now is I can go turn the mob switch back on, and I don't gotta worry about any more spawning. That way I can just work with these guys here. I can release them 1 row at a time just by breaking this stuff here. I might want to put blocks underneath that or actually release them, but probably take these ones in the back here and do that. But yeah, that actually went quite well. I was surprised at how effectively that actually worked with everything going on there. So yeah, I'll go turn the mouse switch back on, and then I'll start moving these guys in. Pretty straightforward. All we got to do is break a couple blocks and put them in place, slab in the glass bucket above one of the powered rails. And then yeah, that's basically everything. It's all done and dusted. Arm's good to go. I had a little bit of a storage thing underneath. I rewired that clock to make it work the way it's intended to have obviously have the item spit out and stay there for a little bit. That way the dolphins are attracted to it. You don't want it to get, recollected by the hopper too quickly, otherwise the dolphins will not pathfind to it towards the bubble columns. But yeah, I'm very surprised at how quick that went. Yeah, this here is going to be fully done fairly soon. So I'll go to the monster check on, get this thing all built up, and then we'll be back once the farm is fully done. Alright, well that took a lot less time than I thought. It took me less than 10 minutes once I got all the guardians over here to get them all in place, which I didn't think would be that simple, but yeah, they're all in place here. We got everything all built up. Squids are getting splatted on the ground. We also have the storage here for the ink sacs that the hoppers underneath here can pick up, because it also does double as a squid farm. Since you obviously are killing the squids, it also makes sense to might as well collect those ink sacs and whatnot. But yeah, so those all fall down on top of the water log slabs there. Those get picked up and then sent to the shulker box litter here, which I just attached a small singular chest here, because we're not going to need more than that. So another diamond beacon just to fit the overall color scheme of the pool area here. And yeah, that's everything right here. Got a bunch of stuff up here. Obviously, we're not going to collect anything. There's really no point. We got all of these drops up here farmed elsewhere. Our fish farm, our polar bear farm, that kind of stuff. So there is fully no point to actually mine or collect any of these items up here. There's really no point for us to collect the ink sacs, but it kind of makes sense because it's part of the farm already. And we have the space down below, since we actually can't make this farm on the floor because of how the dolphins do spawn with the height map and whatnot. I tried at the bottom to make a little pond at the bottom of the world, and even in a copy world, yeah, they just don't spawn, even though the change wasn't till 118. Unfortunately, that is not the case in 117, where there is only a specific spot they can spawn in. So yeah, like I said before, the dolphins get attracted by the item in here. So yeah, like I said before, the item is in here that is going to attract the dolphins to the center of the farm, which then bring them up to the top there. Of course, because fish and whatnot also spawn in here, we will get an occasional fish up here, but also gives us a bit more experience to prepare the sword and everything like that. That way you don't have to worry about that break-in. We have obviously the beacon for the full AFK ability of it. And now, yes, you will get some squid that spawn in the thing here, but they should eventually work their way out because they are not affected by bubble columns. And see, with the squid thing still being in the game, they're still going to glitch up and down, even though they look like they're going up. They're actually not. Yeah, we're nearing 200 dolphins already. This thing should roughly get us about 900, or I think it's 800 per hour. Yeah, it should yield us about 800 dolphins per hour. If we were really keeping track of that and whatnot, but obviously the squids take up a bit of the mob cap there, so being on a dual mob cap because of the bed bot will help a little bit to increase them, but it also is sort of throttling the speed of the guardians that they can kill the squids. Obviously this is designed with a single mob cap in mind, but it shouldn't be too big a difference because there's, what, 16 guardians in here. They should be able to handle the squids that spawn very, very quickly. But yeah, this is the full area completely done. Got our different heads over here. Got our dolphin on the floor, wall art as well. Yeah, very, niche perimeter, but it is something that it turned out pretty well. Especially with that turnaround time and actually getting everything done. Obviously, the perimeter took longer than anything, to be honest with you. Everything else was relatively quick compared to actually clearing out the perimeter, which normally isn't the case. Usually the farm takes longer, but because of the special circumstances with the ocean perimeter, with a lot of obsidian and all that kind of fun stuff with the trenches and stuff, this one's not the case there. But yeah, farm works wonders. I might sit here for a little bit just to get the stats up a little bit higher. Good thing we don't need to have the mob switch off anymore to do so. But we can pretty much just sit here all we want if we wanted to get those stats up there. Obviously, the squid is not going to be as fast as our actual squid farm perimeter, but it's a nice little byproduct you can get if you wanted to make this yourself. Like I said, of course, links in the description down below to the original creator of Fallen Turtle. That was the actual designer of this farm. I think this was their V2 of their looting dolphin farm. Now, obviously, there's really no point for us to be looting. We could just literally drop TNT on them and be done with it. But for the stats, we wanted to build this one here, and it's pretty much the only one I can find that actually, makes use of the farm itself. But yeah, that's it for today. Make sure you like, subscribe, all sorts of things, and I'll see you in the next one.